being a part of this call. You know, I mean, I know that we have a lot of crazy things going on right now. And so to take this time out of your day, out of your morning, I appreciate that, man, for real.
So can you tell them what it's been like? Well, I guess first, since you've graduated Kean, like, what have you done? Let's try there first.
Since I've graduated Kean, I've literally lost my mind and trying to figure out a way to like get this thing all going. But one thing that I know prior to leaving Kean, I know for me, it was more like, okay, I know I've been wanting to do this acting thing for a long time now. And one of the things, or at least one of the things in my mind I felt though what was hindering me was the school thing, because I wasn't able to take it full time. So let's just go back a little bit. Prior to me graduating my junior year, I took a year off from school to come home and actually focus on my acting a little bit more. One of the things that I found out was I was working more than I was actually on set or doing something creatively. And that doesn't mean that that the opportunities weren't there. But at the time, it was more like just waiting for those opportunities to come instead of cultivating my own ideas and working with other creatives in my, city and around me in my network and working with them. So I spent a lot of time working, and I had the opportunity to, my first opportunity to work as background on this show, Luke Cage. And Luke Cage was my first opportunity to really get onto a professional set as far as TV or film is concerned. And man, I met some pretty dope people. And because I was already interested in it, I knew certain things that I wanted to look for. So for the most part, you guys are all TV majors here, right? Communications, in that field, right? So I know for me, it was just, trying to figure out the different things that I wasn't used to. For the most part, I've only been interested in acting. So there was a lot of other things that go inside into, cultivating a project. You have your sound guys, your visual effects, script writers, your director, and different things like that. So those are the roles that I was looking at to learn from. And so, if you're working on a set, 9 times out of 10, they use background and they have us in a certain area. So there's only but so much that we can do. But in those opportunities, when they're actually using us, asking those questions, listen, what is shooting it this way? Why is it going that way? And so in those opportunities, I was able to cultivate and learn more. So transitioning back into Kean, I did my last year, my senior year at Kean University, finally graduated, and I moved back home. And so at the time, I was working on a short film called My Brother's Keeper. And initially, it was supposed to be like a YouTube web series type of situation. And at the time, it was hard trying to find the budget. So what I did was I got together with a few of my friends, and we broke the script down to a short film. And so I said, okay, well, with this short film, what can I do with it? And so I went to a few of my mentors and different things like that to ask for budgeting and, different finances for the film. And I was talking with a buddy of mine, and he said, Eric, you don't necessarily need all of these things to make your vision come to life. And so that was one of the main things that I realized going into it is, okay, well, how can I, as far as finances, take what I have already. I had a camera, I had some lighting, I had some friends who was already in the industry. So I said, all right, well, let me just reach out to them and see what we can do. So we made it. We did the film for about $600. We started last July. Yep, we started July. It was after my birthday, and then we actually just recently finished just before we went into lockdown for the COVID-19 situation. And so that was about an 8-month span, 18-page script. And so I've been spending my time since I've got out of school, trying to get the project done. And, anybody who knows putting a project together, there's a lot of like hurdles and trials and tribulations that you go through in the process of doing so. And some of the things that I went through just cultivated me and was, had me prepared for this opportunity. And so since I've graduated from Kean, I've just been focusing on the short film. We finally are in post-production. We're actually going to be releasing the short film this week. So since I've left school, I've just been focusing on the craft. I'm still doing commercials and different opportunities like that, but mainly focusing on the short film.
Sorry, I was trying to mute it to get less noise in there. What do you say, or what do you think is the hardest thing to do for acting for cameras specifically?
Well, I came up when I first got started with acting, I started in stage theater. And so with stage theater, depending on the theater that you're working in, it could be a really big theater or it could be a really small one, but either way, you're still playing to the back row. So it's much more big, it's much more grand. And so transitioning to TV and commercial, it was, okay, well, we understand like you don't have to give as much facially or emotionally because the camera is so close into you. So figuring out, okay, how can I dumb it down but still come across as effective and give that same feeling as if I was on the stage play. And so that was one of the things that I paid attention to or had to use to get into it, was trying to figure out, okay, how can I dumb down what I'm doing or bring it down, take it, pull back in a little bit more and still come across as effective on film.
So what would you say then was what was the coolest thing you've done on film so far?
Honestly, all of the opportunities that I've had to work on projects were pretty cool. But I guess one of my most memorable moments was actually closing out FBI, actually. We had the opportunity to do this one big scene. I think this is the season 2 of FBI. And it was the first scene back, in the main character, his neighborhood restaurant had, somebody had put a bomb in it and it blew the whole spot up. And so that day we were working, it was one of the hottest days of the summer. And people were passing out, people were dehydrated, different things like that. Actually, one of the main camera guys actually passed out in the middle of actually filming a scene. And the camera equipment got messed up and stuff like that. So it was a crazy day, but all in all, seeing how everybody progressed and moved forward through this hot day, no one was putting another person before anybody. It was a collective situation. So coming together, knowing that it was a hot day, knowing that people were tired and exhausted, seeing everybody come together and still get the project done, that was one of the most memorable moments on film.
Sorry, guys, asking all of my questions. So how long is your typical workday?
Work days usually go, one of the shorter days, I guess, would be about 6 hours or so, but the longest is usually about 14-hour days, 12-hour days, somewhere around there.
So how early do you start?
Well, they usually call us to set, depending on the project that you're working on and the scene that you're shooting. It could be a 6 a.m. call. It could be a 5:30 a.m. call. I know for me, I'm traveling from Atlantic City. So when I was in school, I was just traveling from Union just to get the set. And so I wouldn't have to leave as early. But now that I'm in Atlantic City, trying to get into the city without driving, you have to take public transportation, Greyhound or whatever, and they have certain times. So if I have to be to set by 6, I'm probably going to have to leave at 4 a.m. to get to New York in time. And so, a lot of people ask me, they say, oh, well, man, how you traveling all the way from Atlantic City just to do it? I'm like, when you love what you're doing, those things don't matter in a sense, you know what I mean? And so you're going to do whatever you need to do to make sure that you take it to the next level. And so if it's a 4 a.m. call, if I have to be on the bus by 4 a.m., make it happen. I've been honored and blessed to have a mom who is in the same industry as me. So she understands those early calls and, having to get up and drop me off. So I have a really cool support team around me. So they help me to, position myself in a better way.
So how did you get started with acting with everything? Did your mom play a role in that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my mom is an actress. She's in the industry as well. And I remember me and my brother, we used to travel around with her. She used to go and do different stage plays and different things like that. And so we spent a lot of time on the road with her, traveling back and forth, late nights, early days. And It was this one particular moment that I can remember. Me and my brother, we were sitting in the front row, and my mom was doing this very emotional scene. And I had a chance, I heard this lady sniffling, and I turned around and she's crying. Now, at the time, I wasn't involved with the acting and different things like that, but seeing how my mom affected that person, and I didn't know what she was doing, but whatever she was doing, had this lady crying behind me. And I thought it was pretty cool. I knew it wasn't real, but I knew that emotion, there was a connection there. And so I knew that I wanted to be a part of that. So fast forward over time, I was able to come up through acting with my mom. My mom had her own performing arts workshop. So I was able to cultivate my acting skills and different things like that from K to 8. And I had the opportunity. I used to do, I'm a big James Brown fan. So when I was younger, one of my mom's friends actually purchased me, you remember the cape that Maceo goes and puts on James Brown when he breaks down? One of my mom's friends, she actually purchased one for me, and she gave it to me. And I used to go to parties and stuff like that and do like a little James Brown skit, dancing around, break down in the split, all of those different things. So those are all of those moments that I was going through was, giving me that foundation I needed to get into the arts. And so I finally, after 8th grade, so I think it was the middle of my 8th grade year, a friend of mine told me about a high school called Charter Tech High School, and it was a performing arts school. And I knew that sports wasn't my thing. Acting was my thing. So I said, all right, well, let me go try it out. It's 3 towns over. And at the time, they didn't have transportation to get the students from Atlantic City to that school. So I ended up going to that school, doing a shadow day, seeing how the whole school worked, the different departments. And so when I got a chance to go there, that was my first opportunity to do musical theater. And so combining the acting, singing, and dancing all together, I was able to, start getting into that. And that's when I found a new love for musical theater. And so I didn't really get into TV and film until maybe my senior year. But even then, it was just like independent projects. I had the great opportunity to work with the director in my city here. He did his first independent project here. So when I was younger, I was able to do it there. But really getting a professional feel for it wasn't until I was pretty much out of high school and into college and getting that experience. So, but I started in the theater, and then shortly after graduating from high school, I transitioned over into TV and film.
I feel like I'm monopolizing everything. Does anybody else have a question for Eric before I ask more?
I do. So thank you for being here. It's an honor for you to be here. I'm curious, as an actor, do you have certain genres or interests in terms of what projects you choose? Because I watched because I'm a Scandal fan, so I watched the Papa Pope powerful monologue that you did. So I'm just curious, as an actor, are there certain genres or projects that you're attracted to?
I have projects that I favor, yes. But that's something as an artist, we have certain things that we're really, really good at. And drama was one of the things, attracting emotion and different things like that. That was something that I've always been blessed at. And certain people, when you meet creatives, certain people just have a natural talent for what they do. But I think one of the things as an artist is trying to widen up that horizon a little bit more. So as of right now, I'm actually trying to come out of that. But for the most part, when I first got started into it, I looked at myself as a dramatic actor. And it wasn't just until maybe about a year or two ago, me and a buddy of mine, he's more into the comedy style. And I was telling him, I said, that's something that I want to try to test. You know what I mean? One of the people that I look up to the most, Denzel Washington, of course, he's been known for more of a dramatic, more serious role, but seeing a chance to see him with Mark Wahlberg in Two Guns and trying to see his comedic timing in a way, I think that was pretty cool. And I think that we need to do more of that, because at the end of the day, any character that we usually come into contact with, we have some sort of connection with. Even if it's not us personally, we may know that person. And so I think that we're multiple colors. We're not black or white. It's a plethora of colors. So I think in a way, we go into it. And I think that that's something that we need to focus on. So to answer your question, I do like drama, but I am trying to, as an artist, widen my horizon as far as creatively.
Yeah, no, that's great. I find myself very surprised whenever I see a dramatic actor kind of playing with their comedic timings and kind of, surprise you in a way where you didn't feel like, oh, I could go. You see them more as a funnier actor, in terms of, but also it's like a balancing act in terms of,
Absolutely.
drama, comedy, sometimes being over the top, but learning how to play with the nuances and, that type of performance.
You look at somebody like Jim Carrey.
Mhm.
We're used to seeing Jim Carrey in those comedy roles and acting all wild, and then he did a project after he took a little bit of time away from the arts. He had the opportunity to do a serious movie. I can't remember what it was, the name of the project, but he was walking in like a desert, and seeing him in that sense was pretty cool. It's not something that we always get a chance to see. So there is such thing in the industry where people box you into one particular area because that's the money maker. That's your money maker. So they don't usually see you as being funny. So being able to break those molds and break those marginalized situations is a pretty cool thing, because as artists, like I said, man, we're a plethora of different colors. We are complex, bro. So I think that those are some of the things that we need to be more conscious of and continue to do.
Also, I saw that you worked recently with 50 Cent's For Life that's airing
Yes,
on ABC. What was that experience like?
that was pretty cool, man. I was a big Power fan, and so I watched
Mhm.
Power. And so knowing that he was getting ready to start working on another project, it was more inspiring. So I was looking forward to having that opportunity. So when it finally arrived, just being in the atmosphere, man, of artists who come from similar situations and being able to bring a story to life, that was amazing. And seeing a set where there are it's not just we all know that there's a stigma in the industry as far as creatively, right? And so the majority of the projects that I've worked on, it wasn't too many people that look like me as far as in top positions. So getting the opportunity to see 50 Cent produce and have direction and be able to have a successful project, that in itself was an amazing situation to be able to be a part of, because I feel like we're in a moment where we're making history in a way, and it just being a part of that history making and that transition, I feel like that was one of the most amazing opportunities. But just being around people that want to do what I want to do was cool, man. Outside of that, it was just coming to work, coming prepared, making sure that you're coming to do a job and continue to create with people.
Yeah, no, I think, you are being part of history because, with Scandal, Empire, How to Get
Yes,
Away with Murder, it's important, especially on network TV, that's
yes,
where, even though network TV kind of seems like a little passe, that's where advertisers, put their money into. So to be able to be a part of something very mainstream, and 50 Cent, he's a part of this project. That's important, especially For Life is a very important show to have on network TV right now.
absolutely, absolutely. It's telling the story, shining the light into somebody's life who is we only usually get one side of the story. And
Mhm.
so it's being able to see the other side, and see that process, I feel like that's important. And so we need more of those things. And like you said, TV has become more. It's not that. It's not. It wasn't. It's not in the same position that it was prior. Movies was the big thing. Movies, grand projects was the main thing. When actors heard of acting, or when they said I want to progress in my career, it was usually film. But now TV has taken that role with all of the different streaming platforms and everything like that. I feel like TV is in a great area right now, and it's continuing to move up. So it is a dope opportunity.
Thank you. I'm not going to
No
take
problem.
more
Thank you for your question, David.
I have a question. Well, more of a statement. Can you see me?
Let me see here. Give me one moment. Tamia?
Tamia.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on, Tamia? How are you?
Hi. I'm a musical theater minor and a communication media and film major. So a lot of times, like, I know that you said you were into musical theater. So a lot of times, I don't know if you felt this way, but I'm like juggling in between the two, major and minor. And sometimes I feel like I have so much that I want to do, but it's like, where do I start? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For me, education is important because, you know, I put all my time, I invested into it. So getting good grades, I know that will lead me to different opportunities. However, I'm also at the point where it's like, where do I start so that I can set up my future, or just get my foot in the door to get going on what I want to do. And I'm not the type of person, like, I don't want to be in like one box. Like, I want to be able to say, okay, yes, I'm in musical theater, but I did this or I did that. And there's different things that I like. Can you give me any advice about that?
As far as figuring out where you want to be, honestly, I would first say, figure out what the direction is that you want to be, right? And then also being open to trying different things, because trying different things, you may come up to find something else that you may like or that you may want to be a part of, right? As far as musical theater, well, let me ask you, outside of musical theater, what do you see yourself doing?
I always thought about being on a television show because I just felt like, you know, I like watching TV, as you can see, but I just thought about being on a television show, whether I was like the host or whether I was a guest or act or something like that. But I also thought, like, I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so I also want to get in on the business side. Like, I want to be able to do, okay, here's what's going on, but I can still be the act on air at the time. And I thought about radio. Like, I'm thinking about different things. I'm willing to do anything so that I can, but mostly I want to be on television, but I also want to be in a movie also. So it's just different things that I want to do. I know that because I like to dance, I like to sing, and I just want to use my talents. I just don't want to put them to waste.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I would go about first figuring out, and it seems like you already have the idea of where you want to go, but then also positioning yourself. I know one of the things that I use now, which I'm thankful for Facebook for, is the groups, the different groups that they have on Facebook. I had a buddy of mine who was actually a part of the NYC filmmakers group. They have a page, and so going into the page, at the time I was still acting, only strictly acting, and being able to be in that environment, surrounding myself with some people that are doing those things, even if it was something that I wasn't necessarily familiar with, but positioning myself in that, because PA work, right? PA work, 9 times out of 10, you know, you're helping the director, helping the system, helping the machine flow smoothly. And I had the opportunity to do that. And I didn't know what I was doing, but just being able to ask questions and not feeling like you asking questions is a hindrance. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together as creatives, you know what I mean? And if a person is genuine, they are good people, asking questions, they won't mind answering those situations. So positioning yourself in a way where you can ask those questions and sit back and just watch. Even if it's not something that you may have all the knowledge on, being in that environment, I feel like you have an advantage, because even if it's not something that you're interested in, if you pay close attention, you see how those machines work smoothly. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's important, as far as positioning yourself in the right area. And sometimes, you know, that could be easier said than done. But just going out, asking your friends, you know what I mean? Those small projects. I feel like if we're starting in a project where it's independent, you're getting more of the groundwork in. You're doing more of the work. So you're learning how to do these things. So, you know, working with friends or people that may, you know, need some other people on set with their independent projects, you know, volunteering your time and just asking those questions. And honestly, I know it sounds cliche, but man, YouTube is the thing. I feel like that I was very successful at that because of just constantly searching information. YouTube is another source as far as getting into that or figuring out how to master a craft. And then of course, actually doing the actual groundwork. But as far as just getting on TV, let me see. How many of you guys are actually familiar with Backstage?
I am.
So I know I got started on Backstage, and mostly at the time it was just like student projects. But then they started posting things for like background work. Let me see what else. PA work as well, and just submitting to those projects. So I subscribed to Backstage, and it's usually like a monthly pass, and they give you a rundown of different opportunities, whether it's commercial, independent projects, voiceover work, and it just gives you a rundown of those things. And so what I did was I paid $19 and I just went and submitted to a whole bunch of different things. And, you know, of course, you know the ratio as far as submitting for things, and I've maybe got like 2 or 3 projects, and that ended up cultivating, you know, a resume for myself. And, but I mean, for you, I would just say, if those opportunities are presenting themselves right now, I would say go and, you know, make those. If you want to do TV, if you want to do a TV show, I know Julian, you guys are familiar with Julian Kinnebrew, right?
Some of them,
so
yeah.
He did a TV show, like a little skit, comedy sketch TV show of like the Maury thing. And that was all with his friends by himself. But that was able to give him a jump into, okay, how do I host a show? So inviting your friends, like if you do an IG Live, if that's something that you want to do, say if you want to be a TV personality, you know, interviewing your friends, interviewing your creative friends, and creating those opportunities yourself. That way you're also getting the knowledge yourself, and you have something to show for it. You know what I mean? And then you progress off of that. The thing that I say about it is when people see you putting in the work, they'll be more willing to help you. Even if it isn't the best of the best, because they see you trying and putting out those opportunities for yourself, they'll be more willing to help. And so I would say, you know, make those opportunities for yourself, you know, create those opportunities, learn from them, and then continuously move up. Because that's at the end of the day, as us creators, we want those opportunities to be able to move forward. And sometimes they don't always come to us knocking at our door. Sometimes we have to go and find it. You know what I mean? But I think that's the beauty, that's the poetry in this whole process. You know what I mean? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, no problem.
I have a question.
All right, who?
Nate.
Okay, hey, what's going on? This is Nate Lyles, right?
Yeah.
All right,
so I've kind of followed a similar path. Started out with theater. I'm a theater major now, but I'm more interested in film acting. So I've done some background work. I was on the set of the second season of Power. I was a basketball player, and so that's what I'm trying to get into. So how would you suggest, I know you touched on it a little bit, but how would you suggest getting more opportunities with like auditions or just more exposure?
Backstage was one of them. But then also a buddy of mine, he was actually looking for new representation. He had a lady in Lancaster, PA. And I'll pass this information off to you, Professor Gilly. That way you can share it with the class. But there's a lady named Tara Graham who is representing me. So looking for representation. And that could be a tough task, only because of, you know, it's so many people, so many of us, you know, trying to find that representation for people to, you know, get us in those rooms. But, you know, I feel like even if we don't necessarily have the representation, I would say the best way to go and getting yourself into those environments is, if you're not creating them yourself, the Facebook groups, and then also, you know, taking a chance and there's, so as an actor, right, you know those situations where like they say, oh, well, if you come and you pay $500, we'll give you headshots, we'll put you in the room with a whole bunch of different actors and different things like that. I think when we're going into it, if you don't necessarily have somebody in your corner that is familiar with those situations, you can kind of get sucked into those things. First rule of business, man, if you have to pay to get representation, that's not the place that you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like we all get sucked into those holes sometimes. Now, there are benefits from that. I mean, there's a whole, you're getting headshots as well. You're getting, you're able to practice your craft on screen, or you're able to do all of those things, right? But my thing is, if a person is going to provide an opportunity for you, and this is the first rule of business, is you shouldn't have to pay somebody to get you a job. Your agent or your manager, they get paid when you get paid. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not working, my agent isn't getting any help. So not getting sucked into that situation, because I paid $3,000 for a situation that wasn't beneficial. Was it a lesson? Absolutely, because I was able to learn these things now. But if I would have had somebody in my corner to say, oh, don't try that right now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Then it would have been, I think I would have been better positioned. So looking for representation. And then also, like I said, backstage, man, what's the other one? Oh boy.
Central casting, because I'm probably
Central casting, casting networks. Yeah. And there's another one. So those are usually more for like the background work and the voiceover work, but there's another one called Actors Access, where it's more for like feature roles. They're more for, you still get your background work, but it's a different breakdown in the system. So you're getting more like, I saw one, they were doing a new commercial for Old Spice. Those are different things, and actually independent projects. So those are some of the things that I would say to take a look at. Okay. Take a look at other opportunities. But then, like I said, man, even still, constantly creating your own content.
Right. Okay.
Constantly creating your own content.
Now, you said get represented. Do you have somebody that, like, you knew that represented you, or did you audition or apply for?
I had a buddy who actually referred me. And so because he referred me, I had the opportunity to go and audition with her. And like I said, that was ITS management. And she's looking for new representation as we're rolling out into the new season once we come out of this COVID situation. But she's looking for more actors and different things like that. But that's just one. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Professor Gilly, I will provide that information. That way you guys can go and check that stuff out. But looking for representation, because I feel like they had, their job is to get us into the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's their responsibility. So if we can find those opportunities, that's another way. But like I said, that's not the only way. Representation isn't the only way. I feel like you can create your own ways, and I'm heavy on that. So you'll hear me emphasizing that a lot more, because I feel like those are the best times where we can do exactly what we're looking for and being able to capitalize off of it. I mean, it's a start. You know what I mean? It's somewhere to start, to say I've done this and I've had the experience with doing so.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man.
If we made like a really cool independent film,
yes,
what do you think we should do with it? Like, where should it go?
It's a great question. I'm actually in the process of going through that myself. But I know for me, one of the things I would say, before we submit to any film festivals or anything like that, I would say show it to the people in your community. Show it to that way you're able to get an instant response to see, okay, now you have a good idea of what the project is or what it isn't. But at least you have that opportunity to do that. So I would say show it to your friends, family, your community first, get a feel for it. And then I would say go ahead and start submitting to those film festivals, because when you're doing it, when you're showing it to a community of other creatives or people that's just in your environment, I feel like you get a good sense of where the project lands. And that's just that's maybe 1% of the people that you want to show it in front of, but at least you get a good idea. So I would say make sure that the project that you gave it your all, show it to people in your area. That way you get an instant response. And then 3, go into submitting to film festivals. Now, the thing about film festivals, and I haven't submitted any films myself to film festivals, but I have friends who have done so, and it's a lot. They submit to about 10 of them, and they only get a call back from like 1 or 2. But that 1 or 2, you're able to take that and say, well, listen, I was in this situation. I was in this Sundance. That's the big one. I was in Sundance, or I was in New York African American Film Festival, and this was my turnout. Okay, that's something that you can leverage. So you want to be able to have leverage for your project and take it to the next level. So I think that would be the next role as far as getting your films in front of people, in front of the right people, I would say, is and then you're able to, even if it doesn't go far, on your next project, you at least have that knowledge and that information to put into the new project. And it's a constant learning situation. You know what I mean?
All right. Anybody else have a question? Because I have another one, so I don't want to monopolize.
Well, guys, let me ask this. Who in here has any projects that they've been working on? And would you guys is there anything from those projects that you would like to ask as far as the process or what to do next or anything like that?
I am.
Let Todd talk.
Oh, sure. Todd, you can go.
Sorry about that, David.
No.
So at Kean TV, I'm actually doing a show that I did. Unfortunately, it's on hold because of the pandemic, so I can't get any more people on here. But I've been doing a show based off a YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen it before, but I've watched some of their episodes. FBE. I've been doing some episodes based off of their shows where I had students react to certain videos and have their opinions on it, share their opinions on it. I've actually recently tried to apply for some internships there, but I haven't heard back from them since. But I was wondering, with projects like that, because I've actually had interest in working at them as a PA when I graduate, since I've been struggling to get internships. How can I use some of that to be able to incorporate that with trying to get a PA after graduation, something like that?
I know there is as far as PA work, there is a specific website that you can go to, and they take you through this whole program. There's a whole program that you have to go through as far as training and different things like that. What I'll do is I'll send that information because a buddy actually put me onto it. Professor Gilly, I'll send that over to you as well. But there's a particular website. So, you have the essential casting and different things like that. There's a similar platform for PA work, and where all your techs go, your lighting guys, carpentry, all of that, they go to this one particular area outside of always, say a lot of people get onto other projects because they work with someone prior. But for somebody that's new coming in, if you don't have a reference or somebody that that's in that field to refer you to a project, I'm going to provide the website for that. That way you guys can go on there. And pretty much what you do is you go in, you do your training, and I believe that there's a certain amount of hours that you have to have prior to you getting on to sets. But that's the start. That's the progress into getting into that PA work. And like I said, I've only done that maybe once or twice, but I know that there is a strategic way to going about getting into that. And that's just submitting through the projects. And most of the stuff, you have some production companies in New Jersey who specifically only work with people in New Jersey. But if you're looking to get into those New York environments as well, that's the particular way that you would go into progressing forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And what's your name, man?
It's Tariq, but I like to be referred as Todd.
Todd. Okay. All right, man. I'll make sure to get that information over to Professor Gilly.
Okay.
Okay. So, have you ever, can you tell us, because we're not perfect, I'm sure you're not perfect, what's a
Absolutely.
mistake you've made that you want to talk about? Just so, you know, when life gives you lemons, make a little lemonade.
One of the biggest mistakes that I made was feeling as though I knew it all. Feeling that I knew it all. Like I said, this is, I came into the entertainment business as an actor. But as you progress through, like Nate said, you know, a part of it is trying to get into that business side, and tapping into that, because that's also a part of it. Even if you just want to be an actor, you are a business. And sometimes these things can be a little bit challenging. So you want to be able to be humble enough and grounded enough to say, hey, listen, I don't know it all. I need to go find it. And even when it's tough, even when it seems as though the information that you're trying to get isn't accessible, not giving up, the persistence. Because that was one of the things that I was frustrated coming out of school. I was like, you know, I got to figure out a way. I said, okay, well, going to LA right now isn't an option. Okay, who can I talk to? And I had the opportunity of getting into those think groups. So like I said, just positioning myself in a way where I'm not closing myself off, feeling like I knew it all. Position myself in a way where it's like, if I don't know something, asking those questions. So I feel like that was one of the bigger mistakes coming out of it, was just thinking that I knew it all, and being too up on myself to be like, okay, I don't need to ask this person, or I don't, you know what I mean? Ask those questions, because at the end of the day, that's where we find our answers. And even if it isn't what you wanted it to be, it leads you into that next direction of going and getting one step closer to that answer that you're looking for. So I think that that's a big thing, is asking questions, being open, not feeling as if your way is the only way.
Fantastic. Do I have any more questions from Eric? I know we kept you for like almost an hour now, so
I do.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Okay. Oh, Tamia, you can go.
No, you can. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, I'm just curious. You brought up a East Coast, West Coast situation. Do you find there's more opportunities in terms of on the East Coast? Because you see projects happening in New York, Atlanta, sometimes even Jersey.
That's a great question, actually. I know me, I felt like I had to go to the West Coast to get the opportunities that I wanted. And, you know, I think a part of that is because you don't necessarily see people. I know for me, I didn't see people like me doing it. So I felt like the only place that I could go to get that opportunity was LA. Fast forward to Tyler Perry. Fast forward to Spike Lee. You get a chance to see that you can make your own opportunities. And I think that was the most important part. Now, granted, going to LA is an experience that I feel like every artist or any person who's looking to get into that entertainment business, that's an experience that you want to have. But that's not the only way. I feel like we can go, and one of the things me and my buddies, we're talking about it now, is going to visit the Tyler Perry Studios. Mm-hmm. Now, we want to, I see Tamia, yeah, I'm telling you, like, that's inspirational.
I want to go so bad.
Really bad. Actually, what's the guy's name? He did
Will Packer.
He has his own production company. He was a part of our TV department as well. Gosh, he actually just recently went down.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Kasai had his photo out there.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Kasai. He lives in my town.
Yes. Kasai, I saw him on the page as well. So I feel like seeing people, because you see, you have the big corporations, of course, but I think where the real inspiration comes from, because those corporations were there prior to us even being born. A situation like Tyler Perry that was built up from the ground up by not just one person alone, but for the most part, him putting in the groundwork and getting that idea out there. So to answer your question, I feel like there's not one particular area that you need to go in. I think that what we really need to look at is our hustle and getting the job done, and you know, taking advantage of what you do have. Because a lot of times, I know for me, it was hard to get over to the West Coast. I was supposed to go over to the West Coast a long time ago, but if you don't have the funds to do that, then what do? You know what I mean? Do you just sit here and say, oh man, if only I could get out to LA, you know what I mean? Or if you're on the West Coast, if only I could get out to New York. I think that would hinder us. So I think being persistent and taking advantage of what you have, taking those lemons and making lemonade is the most important part. You know what I mean? Because that's the humbling situation. That's the humbling experience that we need going into it. Because it's important, man. And it can really mess with you if you have that mindset. Yo, I have to go. I have to be there to get those same opportunities. So I don't think that there's necessarily a side. I love the East Coast, man. We have a lot over here, man. And I think that is one of the reasons why I'm deciding now to stay here. At one moment, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna move over to LA, and I'm gonna just, take that leap. I don't think right now I need to do that because I know there's so much more. I haven't exhausted all of my options over here on the East Coast. You know what I mean? There's a lot more. There's a lot of dope creators like you guys in here that if we came together, I don't see why we can't have the same type of success and opportunities and turnouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just curious, do you have friends who are directors, writers? Because I'm trying to be a screenwriter.
I do have friends that are writers and directors. And I think that was another, like going into directing my own film, that helped me out a lot because I was able to ask those questions like, yo, listen, I'm nervous as all get out. and that's natural. But being able to have those mentors and people in your corner to be able to ask those questions, it kind of makes your process easier. Now, of course, it's not going to be the same. You're going to go through your own experience in itself, but at least you have some sort of knowledge and information that you can use going into it. And then having those people around you, so where times become tough, you're able to go to them and reach out to them and see what's going on and ask those questions that you may need to ask. So to answer your question, yeah, I do. I do have some creative writers and directors as friends.
Do you find it's any better for them in terms of, because I know behind the scenes trying to, really put a foot inside the door, it's very hard in terms of, because it's a very competitive field, everyone's trying to, produce their own project. Everyone's trying to direct. Everyone's trying to get inside the writer's room. And I know, for many writers' room, it's very closed off, because, everyone's trying to, get in the writing staff and, just have a script read or even write a script.
Yeah. I don't think that it's easier. I guess if you would have, if you're a talented writer and the only thing that was hindering you from getting into the room was maybe knowing somebody or being presented with that opportunity. I think that would be the only hard part is knowing the person. Because if you're good at what you're doing, even if you don't necessarily have those type of connections, shopping yourself around, I think that it's a round circle as far as persistence and not giving up. You know what I mean? Because you can have submitted maybe 5 or 6 scripts and none of them got picked up. But it may not. I think that sometimes we forget that timing is everything. Time is something that we don't necessarily look at it enough, but sometimes it just may not be our time at that moment. And as artists, that's a tough pill to swallow because it's like, well, no, I'm ready. I'm ready now.
Right.
And that may not be that. Okay, yeah, you are ready, but are you ready for all the other things that come with it? Yeah, you're good at writing, but are you ready with all the people that are going to judge your writing? And though that doesn't matter, those are the things that you need to have aligned prior into getting into that situation. So outside of having a friend that get you in the room, I think that paying attention to the time and in the area is another thing that we need to take into consideration. and that's tough. But I think that is it plays a huge part into our psyche in a way, because man, it could be a very detrimental situation, you know.
Yeah, no, for definitely. Thank you.
No problem, man. No problem.
Kyle, there you are.
Oh, we got Mr. Kyle in the house.
What's up, Eric? Yeah, I was looking crazy.
Kyle, how are you, buddy?
I'm Gucci, man. Just
Yo, it's good to see you, man.
Just listening to the word. Don't worry.
Word. Yo, I'm telling you guys, I'm not familiar with a few people in here, but I see Kyle all the time, man, and you guys have some dope. You guys have a dope guy in your area, man. Kyle's a really good guy, and I know, Kyle, we have conversations all the time, man. But that's one of the things, like, you know, in this industry, bro. It's a community, and I think that plays a huge part into get positioning ourselves. So, man, Kyle, keep doing what you're doing, brother. You know, I'm very proud of you, bro. You're killing it right now.
Listen, I appreciate it, especially coming from you. I'm waiting for that new film, man.
Yo, we're actually dropping the trailer this upcoming Wednesday. So that was another thing. Yeah, before we get out of here, I'm gonna have you guys, if you guys wouldn't mind following my short films page called My Brother's Keeper. Is MBK 2020. You guys can see like
TV follows it if you need to find it.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, you know, and then we'll be releasing the trailer. But yeah, bro, I'm excited about that, man. Can't wait, bro.
Any more questions, guys? I know we kept it for a while.
Yeah. Do you have like any or another project or a new project in the works and need any actors?
Yo, you know what? It's funny that you say that. I'm working on some more short stories, as far as like passion projects and stuff like that. And I'm glad that you asked that question, because I think that's another part of it, into like positioning yourself, is not being afraid to ask. I think that the industry has scared us to the point where it's like we don't want to ask, because there may be a negative look, or they have certain people that they want to work with. But man, like, it's important that we ask those things. We be unapologetically going hard for what we want to do. You know what I mean? Because that's a part of the process, and not being afraid to ask those questions. So yeah, man, I do actually. I'm actually working on another music piece on the side. Just I'm still in the process of writing it out. But yeah, I do. So I mean, if you're interested, bro, hit me up, bro, or anybody, and not just Nate himself, but anybody. Writing different things like that. Like I said, it's a community. So reach out, man. And if it's not something that I can do personally, if it's somebody I know that can help you out, I'm more than happy to do that as well. You know what I mean? Because that's how we get into those rooms and get into those opportunities. It's helping each other out. You know what I mean? So reach out. Don't be afraid. I was in those same classes. I was actually a part of Professor Gilly's first class. So there is a love for people who are wanting to position themselves in a better place. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, if you're doing the work, man, people will be more willing to help. So if you guys are interested, just reach out, man. I'm more than happy to help you guys out or position you guys if I can.
I follow your page on Instagram. I'll do that over that. But I'll hit you up on there.
Aw.
Most definitely.
So
I appreciate that, man.
I have one more question. Would you guys all be willing to turn your cameras on for a group photo?
Yeah. Hey, Gilly.
I ain't get dressed for that.
All right. You're the best.
Professor Gilly.
Aw, it's the illest girl next door.
Yep.
All right.
Let me ask you guys, how you guys doing in this whole lockdown situation, man? Are you guys?
All right, I got a story.
I want to hear the story. What's the story?
So with this whole lockdown and everything, hold on, let me introduce myself. I'm Jada, by the way, guys. And I got a podcast called Illest Girls Next Door. We actually just dropped our website and everything.
Now, with this whole pandemic, as far as school-wise, it has been probably like the hardest thing because it's like, with me in a sense, I I need the discipline and the structure in my life. You know, my normal day, I used to go to school, go to work, and either like do the podcast, go home, or do an event. So I'm used to my life just being in like a timeline. So just having too much time in a sense has becoming like a little bit of a struggle, but it's been a blessing at the same time because I got more time to focus on my business. I got more time to plan out everything that I'm going to do. And it's literally, I've been dropping a lot of stuff with my podcast. I've been doing everything on the back end professionally wise to like with my contracts and just, you know, building a foundation of my business stronger. So on that end, it's been kind of cool and everything. Just like with the school, just trying to stay focused and like actually discipline myself to do it on my own time. Like, cause you know, like when you got home, but you know that you got to do it because your life is so structured, so planned out already that you know, but just having like too much time, I feel like it's not the best thing. But just been trying to like get through it. Like I said, it's been a blessing and a curse. And I just hope that we back in classrooms come September.
That's it. Well, I'll tell you one thing, as far as like that structure thing, that is definitely something. And coming out of school, I was like, holy crap, I don't have to get up at 8 a.m. anymore. Wait a minute. All right, I can sleep in bed. Sounds legit. and that, you know, of course, take advantage of that time because you work so hard all those times in school. In school you work hard. So when you get out, you know what I mean, taking a little bit of time to just focus on you, that self-care, that self-love is important. But then eventually, like you said, it does come, damn, all right, wait, hold on. I need something to do. And you're so used to being on a set schedule. But I think that if we substitute, like you said, honing in on your business, honing in on your craft, if we substitute those times for the times that we usually would be doing things, I feel like it still lines up. You still have that structure. Like, all right, I know for me, I get up, I listen to some Snow Allegra, and I start my stretch. You know what I mean? And like, that's my beginning of the day. And then progressing on, I might do a little bit of writing, hour or two here. I'll go and watch some TV a little bit, you know, not putting too much of a stress on yourself. I feel like that could also be heavy on us too. So, you know, if we're substituting those things with, all right, I'm going to go for an hour or two. I'm going to go get some information for the podcast, reach out to somebody to be on the show, or, you know, figure out the structure for your next show. Splitting up your time evenly, I feel like that'll be a little bit more helpful, you know, because then, like you said, we're in class at this moment. You guys would be in class or just getting out of class, right? So, you know, filling that time, filling that void with something that is going to elevate you, or, you know, self-care, man, or focus. I
also feel like that comes with self-discipline as well too, because you have to self-discipline yourself throughout this whole pandemic and everything, because it's not easy for some people. And even if like you're a slow learner, or you need that extra help, and it's easier just to be like, hey, professor, versus you gotta go write a whole email, then wait like a whole hour, 3 hours for them to reply. And then what happened if, you know, they don't even help you with the answer because it's just not face to face. So I just felt like the face to face versus being home is also like not the easiest thing. But like I said, it comes with self-discipline and as well as self-care. Like I've been practicing self-care lately. I've been watching more podcasts. I just have more time to do more for myself and educate myself as well too in the path and lane that I'm in. So like I said, it's definitely a blessing and a curse, and I just hope that we get through it all.
What's the podcast? I would love to check it out.
It's Illest Girls Next Door. Illest Girls Next Door. It's ILLEST Girls Next Door podcast. You can actually do www.com, illestgirlsnextdoor.com, and it'll pop up. Our website actually just dropped yesterday. And what Illest Girls Next Door do is we interview artists, we interview producers, we interview business owners. We also do table talks. It's just to give a platform so your voice could be heard. We basically do everything. We promote, we vlog, we host events. Illest Girls Next Door is just a growing platform and everything like that. There's 3 of us. I'm Jada. It's Rissy and Yanni. So you really know. Gilly's actually been like a big help at Those Girls Next Door as well too. He's always supportive.
I do very well.
Word.
Oh.
All right, well, I'll definitely check you out once we get off of this call.
All right, I'm ready for a group photo. So whoever's turning the cameras on, you do it now, so I can post this bad boy.
Look,
all right, everybody smile on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Eric, thank you so much. This was awesome. Thank you for kicking off Celebrity Week. This was cool. We have Dante Ramos tomorrow.
I say yes, another dope Kean alumni.
All right. Well, you guys have wonderful days, and I will see you,
Professor.
Bye, guys.
You too.
This
All right, guys, take care. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.